Going on down to AfterBuzz, gonna talk your favorite show.
Friendly hosts everywhere, humble talks without flirtation.
Going on down to AfterBuzz, gonna see my favorite host.
Ample thoughts day or night, people shouting but never fighting.
Heading on up to AfterBuzz, gonna hope we don't ramble.
We like those with big fat titties, man, I hope this show ain't shitty.
Come on down to AfterBuzz and meet some hosts of mine.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's Dolly Parton for you with PMS Blues. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the men in our great nation who are suffering from PMS Blues.
You said it, brother.
I'm convinced men have their own PMS.
Tell us more about this.
That is the voice of Steph Sabraw
What's up?
and Christian Bladt.
Hi, I'm Christian Bladt, and I agree with my wife.
There's a lot to decompress tonight. There's a lot, we got to talk about how shitty Black Panther was. We got to talk about PMSing. I mean, and of course there's a lot to talk about of should we cancel South Park or not. Great episode, Dead Kids, starting off with season 22 with a bang. In our special segment, though, we will get a little bit serious and we'll talk about actual statistics on school shootings and try to bring it back. But before that, don't expect anything more or less, whatever the term may be. I'm Phil Svitek, your host. Thank you for joining us. Steph, what did you think of tonight's episode?
I was concerned at first by the title, but I feel like they really tackled it like perfectly, actually. I feel like they tackled the right part of the issue as opposed to focusing on actual dead kids. They didn't focus on that, which I thought they would. But I am really excited for the direction of the season. I don't know, this didn't really do it for me, but I think it's a good start.
Now, do you think that there's a chance that maybe, I don't know, if you watch this episode again in a week, you might like it more? Because it would be...
when I'm off my PMS?
Yeah.
I just need to wait for the poop
and
to
funny.
stink.
We were always spin it positive
Yeah.
when you're more smart
When you're a
and
little
funny.
bit more smart, a little bit more funny. Because tonight, I don't know, I didn't feel you were quite as smart as you usually
Yeah,
are.
the red rag might be intact.
Anyway, I seriously was impressed with how you can take, on the list of unfunny things that happen in the world, school shootings is pretty close to the top, if not the top. And they managed to make this so funny because, they happen so often that, of course, it's, hyper exaggerated for the show. But at some point it's like, I can't be devastated every time I hear about it. But you're just like, this is terrible. Somebody should do something. I mean, not me, but somebody else should do something about it. And I couldn't believe I know we're going to go through the episode, but the sequence with Token and Cartman running through the hallways, just like, we've got to get to class in time. Let's get this stupid, pesky school shooting. Let's try and sneak past. And yes, Butters with an AK. If there's anybody who should not be armed, it's Butters. Although I would actually say he'd be better with a gun than Cartman for sure.
Fair enough. My first kind of burning question is, since when do we have an Asian teacher? And why is she teaching math, of course?
Okay, so let me just say, my wife is Chinese, so I feel like I'm allowed to make the statement I'm about to make. So she's an Asian teacher, so of course she's teaching math. And I would say that to my wife, and she would punch me in the arm, and then we would laugh about it. But anyway, who is this new teacher? Like, I get it, Mr. Garrison's not a teacher anymore because he's president. And Mrs. Chokes on Dick, well, we know what happened to her. But, who is... they didn't say her name? Like, nothing, right?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, okay. She's just a teacher now.
Good. Listen, we're off. We don't need explanation, expository moments. Great. I like it. So, there you have it. She's the new teacher. Now, I love... The show has quite a good history with Token and, of course, Cartman. When he's with the family, it kind of reminded me last time he was with the family, or I think the last time when Cartman cites that Black Panther discussion night. And I was wondering, does that happen in between car flipping night?
Yeah,
I
think that, it's on a schedule. So there's probably car flipping night, Black Panther discussion night,
Burning the flag.
I don't know about that, but rewatching Get Out night,
Yes.
sit around and pretend we like Blackish night. There's a lot of different things that they probably get together to do. So it's probably a very busy calendar. I'm glad you brought this up, Phil.
Yes. Well, okay. So the issue at hand, though, Trey and Matt are making fun of the fact that Black Panther was just a runaway hit, and yet it was exactly like Lion King, and this underlying truth that no one talks about. Now, first off, did you like Black Panther?
I loved it.
I thought it was great, and I'm definitely a Marvel apologist to some point, but I thought it was incredibly well done. And yes, I definitely thought I think I've seen this in The Lion King. But,
It was okay.
But that one sequence, yeah,
That was the voice of Tony.
that's the voice of Tony, who thinks that Chucky in the new Child's Play looks cool. So can we just discount his opinion for the rest of his existence?
He looks okay.
Okay, that's better. At least you think he only looks okay.
See, I can't control his voice. He's going to interject when he wants, how he wants. So
Whenever
it's just
I want.
Well, because
it's annoying.
It's that time of the month for Tony too.
Steph,
I'm
what
going in
about
my
you?
seat.
I loved Black Panther. I didn't really like. I understand that this had to be the B plot of the story, but it seemed like we've kind of seen this storyline before, especially with these two characters. But it was funny. It was hitting a point that no one really does talk about because everyone was so focused on the monumental moment of Black Panther.
Well, what I liked about the storyline was the aspect of Cartman kind of being a detective whenever he goes into that voiceover mode. And in fact, Steph, you have some of the best quotes from the episode. One in particular that we should highlight, which happens in the bathroom, of course.
All I need to do now is wait for the poop to stink.
But you got to set up the punchline. Token, see, in poker,
Set it up for me.
in poker, we call that a bluff, but he's not bluffing. Token just shit his pants.
All I need to do now is wait for the poop to stink.
There you go.
I'm going to use that so much.
That's good because I'm going to poop a lot on this show, so it's going to work out really well.
So there you have it. I mean, okay, the part of the episode that I didn't fully understand, I mean, maybe I did, I don't know, was when Cartman just decides to be this mercenary or altruistic person, perhaps, that crumples up his paper and he's like, I will get an F so long as is he helping the people the blacks that hate Black Panther, or is he helping them?
Or, by the way, it's not necessarily blacks who hate Black Panther because he's named Token for a reason. I don't know how many there are in the school other than his girlfriend. So I think it's just people who don't like Black Panther. I feel like that's setting up I think we're going to get more of this story probably next week. So, I think he's definitely, he's playing the long game, Cartman.
I see.
I don't know what that game is, though.
I could see them trying to do, I don't know, have they done a Cartman George Zimmerman type where he's trying to be the self-profound
Oh, yeah.
secure?
Yeah.
World War Z.
No, yeah. But
Or
I mean,
it was called
as a
World War
long,
Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like that could be a setup with that. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they'll keep it.
I don't want
really
the
like
setup.
it.
I mean, they didn't even tell us who the teacher is, so they can do whatever they want.
She might be just a substitute. Who cares?
They don't care. But the Cartman as a detective is pretty great because they used a lot of the conventions and cliches from movies and TV. I mean, there's a very Detective Columbo moment where he's like, "You folks have a nice day," and then there's the long pause. Oh, one more thing, and he asks the
turn.
total what would you do if you found out that Token had seen the PG-13 movie? All right, good night then. So it's and that's the whole point of Columbo is that he's actually much smarter than you think he is, and he's like, oh, I figured it out, but we'll just keep watching. Anyway, so good work for Cartman. I would want him on my team.
Much like Token, I believe that if Cartman put in effort towards passing this math test, he would actually...
It was such a great point. Yeah. That it was so you did all of that, all the letters that were going to be mailed instead of actually just studying for the math test.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I would have done. But
if you're going to do one or the other, listen, Fortnite's a great excuse. You got to play Fortnite. So just play Fortnite one way or the other. Don't do Token. Don't study. Play Fortnite. Yeah. So, but let's, one of the big setups is that, of course, hall monitor Butters, right? And I love this because he's like the good cop, but he's half corrupt because he's trying to feed information to Cartman, of course. So it has that whole dynamic, which culminates in this wonderful, wonderful sequence of just bullets whizzing. I mean, this was better than the Matrix hallway fight.
Yeah, I will say from I feel like the sound, just the editing perspective, the sound was so good in this episode with Cartman and the investigating music in the back and the gut. Like there were so many shots coming out, but you're right, it was better than.
Right at the beginning of the episode, the first school shooting, when they're hearing about the tests and the teacher keeps trying to shout over it, and then they storm into the room and they're just irritated by the whole thing. It just does such a great way. It really is, the sound design just really heightens everything to make a simple point right there in the first couple minutes. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, which takes us to the crux of the episode, the school shootings. Number one, we never identified any victim.
Yeah.
You know,
or the shooter or anything about the actual shooting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, in a sense, you kind of appreciate that, although obviously there's a lot to be sort of questioned. Like, where's Kenny? Where's Heidi?
Well, you know that wherever Heidi is, she's doing something so smart, and she's just being super funny.
I thought you were going to say she's in a better place.
No. I would hope that Kenny is with Heidi, and that would make it a better place because Heidi's with her. So I'm sure that he's just laughing too hard at everything she says because she is so funny. Mm-hmm. So funny.
I see. Fair enough. Steph, how did you feel about it?
No, I agree exactly. I liked the fact, like I said, when I was telling you about how I felt about the episode, that it wasn't focusing on the gun violence itself, but rather like how everyone wants to turn around and not pay attention to it and not find a solution. And like Christian said, have someone else find a solution while you stay calm. And I feel like they did a really good job of punching that kind of idea that we are so desensitized to it that it's more of a bother to hear about than anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, even just the whole protocol of now, Mr. Mackey holding two German Shepherd dogs. That was just a moment of just absolute absurdity.
I think it's off camera, but for me, the line of the episode is, "No, we shot the wrong kid, okay?" Just amazing.
Yeah, the lack of progress is exactly how it is in the U.S., like, especially with our president saying that we should have teachers armed, and like that reminded me of why Butters is armed in the school hallway and why Mr. Mackey has two shepherd dogs. Like these things are so stupid.
Yeah. Well,
the only thing that would have made more sense, just to interrupt, is if the dogs had been armed as well.
Exactly.
I think that would have made it more effective.
Funny.
Well,
that would have been.
Maybe next week. Sorry, Phil.
No, and one of the things I appreciate about this episode in particular, you could have gone the very cliche, because everyone's talked about this idea that a school shooting happens and like clockwork, our thoughts and prayers go out to all and everyone tweet, and it's like, okay, what the hell does that do?
Yeah.
And that would have been the obvious choice, but we don't go the obvious choice. We go to Sharon, who is quite perturbed about this, and maybe unrightfully so. It's that time of the month.
Maybe unrightfully so.
Listen, I don't make the rules. I'm a journalist.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? Phil reports, you decide. Okay? That's the way it works around here. I did love how the men in the episode are all trying to comfort Randy because of what he has to go through. And then it's just so outrageous. And I love that Butters' father, whose name I actually don't remember, Butters' father is just like, maybe this really is a big deal. And it's just, no one's taking that seriously at all. It's just like, what? No, of course not. There's no way it's a big deal. So it really doubles for the actual issue.
But he's the one who kind of introduced, like, maybe it is a big deal. And then the menstruation.
Oh, yeah, of course. That is the actual point. Yeah. Menopause.
Yeah, he didn't just...
Maybe it really is a big deal. Menopause. And Randy, by the way, this is grade A, USDA approved, 100% pure Randy. This episode. He is so Randy in this episode. I was very excited. And then just the fact that he never heard of menopause. And is he a scientist? I'm right about that, right?
But he's a geologist.
No, I know, but he's never heard of menopause. I love that.
Rocks don't...
Oh, you're going to say that rocks don't bleed?
Yeah.
That is the least woke thing I've ever heard, Phil. I'm going to sit over here and read the live read.
All right.
Hey,
What a great
AfterBuzzers!
transition.
Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't! Because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know if you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. But for now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
That's right. I like to think of it, when they cancel us, you have more options to choose from.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag cancel South Park after show.
Just a real quick tangent before we get to Sharon. I'm wearing a shirt from The Sandlot, the very famous line, "Small, you're killing me, Smalls." And I wore it very deliberately because it takes on a whole different meaning today.
Sure does.
So, just thought I'd share.
Killing me, Smalls.
Oh, Tony be Tony! Look at that!
All right, but let's, as a journalist, let me ask you,
Yeah.
Steph. We can't relate,
No.
and so therefore,
Speak for yourself, cis white male.
okay, all right, fair enough.
But anyway,
I cannot relate. So you watching this episode, obviously it's already like on the very fine line of school shootings, and then it blames the reaction of it on something you probably deal with or do deal with. I don't know. I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming that you deal with that.
Yeah, I really felt like I was Sharon and women are Sharon and you guys are Randy and his crew of men that act like nothing's a big deal all the time. I feel like do you guys care about the school shootings that are happening?
So, if you want to be 100% serious, I have 2 kids. It's
Okay.
the most horrifying
Okay.
thing that I ever hear about it.
and you
It's-
still pay attention to it in the news.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I do know that me as a person, I can't do anything to change it. It's people who make and approve laws, and there's no way to actually make real change without a different structure to the way things work in Washington. And don't think for a second that Democrats don't also take money from the NRA. But anyway, I'm done with that. I'm completely
No,
done with
I like that you brought up that point because my one problem with this episode, I thought they could have taken it a step further and gone to like the legislation and the politicians behind it. But on the period note and the menopause note, I think it is so funny that every time a woman is like very emotional about something, it has to be because she's on her period, when it's almost ever not. Like maybe you're a little bit more heightened, maybe the tear rolls down, but it's not, you're not upset about something like this that you wouldn't be. But I thought it was a really funny portrayal of like when women are feel so helpless and they're like, no, I swear it wasn't that, and the guys are so stuck on like, okay, but it was. It was.
Steph, I mean, you know men. We're not that smart. We're not as well read as maybe we should be. We do see the world very simply. So one, if a woman is maybe acting in a way that annoys us, it's definitely that time of the month. And 2, if a woman is not interested in us, well, clearly she's a lesbian. 100% of the time. That's that. Yeah, any woman who's never been. Now that I'm married, obviously you're all interested, but I can't listen. But back then that was the only reason why. So that's how we see the world. Women are either on their period or gay.
Oh my god.
And well, here's the thing, like, first off, this is not a new thing of them making fun of women with periods. They made the Virgin Mary.
Yes.
They made fun of her. And secondly, like, when you kind of go down an entire list, Matt and Trey have always gone after, for lack of a better term, potty humor. And so farts are universally funny. For guys, women's periods are always going to be universally funny.
And
And
gross
scary.
to
And
them.
horrifying.
Yeah.
But yes, on both counts, yeah.
So it's just one of those things. It's a universal truth.
But I mean, to your point, it's obviously they feel like the story is going to appeal to women as well because of it's like the episode about men leaving the seat up, where they make both arguments, where it's like, oh, isn't it easy to just check to make sure it's not up before you sit down? And then the point, of course, is, or isn't it easy for you, the man, to just put it down? You know, so it's like you could kind of look at the issue and you could find it funny because men are infuriating, you know, when it comes to just assuming this.
But like, who doesn't look where they sit? You know, like, come on.
Yeah, but okay, so but the thing about that episode is that they found a third option that neither was looking at because they were both wrong.
Yeah.
In this situation,
in this situation, Sharon's wrong.
Yeah, it turned into like Grease, where all of a sudden she's like Sandy, and she's like, "Okay, I'm not emotional anymore."
Sharon at the end was amazing. You know?
Yeah, well,
which I mean, we need to talk about the fact that apparently Stan was shot, and then she's come around, so she's like, "Okay," but the pure Stan is sort of his reaction to when Sharon is saying, like, sometimes I get too emotional. He's like, oh. So it's just him making a series of sounds. And if I were to do a list of like top 20 Randy quotes, one of them would be, oh. So,
I loved that part.
Yeah.
I loved Stan's part, but it was an interesting point. I actually really like that you said that. I feel like they were writing to women, and I think this episode they were more so than some of the other episodes that they've written, because oftentimes when the period card comes out, women really don't want to be that person. So you do end up being like, maybe it was.
Sorry, I can't think straight. I'm just imagining what a period card looks like.
Tampon.
Ew.
I bet it's red.
Sometimes.
Oh,
I have so many questions that I want to ask. And I'm married, and I have all these questions. Anyway, sorry, Phil.
all good. Listen,
Yeah.
Sharon represents like a perfect stoic. She's just like, oh,
Yeah.
he's dead. Could be worse.
Yeah,
Is he dead?
I actually don't think that he's dead. I think, you know, they just said he's shot, you know, so. Although, I mean, if you remember, and we talked about this somewhere a couple weeks ago, the season where Kenny was dead for real, they were going to kill Stan at first. So maybe they're like, oh, this is finally his turn. But I can't imagine that they would kill Stan. I mean, if you're going to kill anybody, kill Kyle.
I want more Stan. I feel like we haven't seen him in, like, last season. He was barely involved. I feel like he wasn't involved as much last season.
I don't know. I think we need more Kenny. So if that frees up more room. Or,
I just love his dialogue. So
yeah, or maybe you know what? Let's give somebody else a chance. How about more Tweak? Can we get more Tweak on the show?
Tweak and Craig. Yeah, I think they would be good.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't get shot for being gay.
Well, it is Colorado.
I had I had the most serious question, but I forgot now.
no.
Oh, isn't that how this show works?
Yeah, you know.
Is it about? Did you know that?
No. Okay, so in all seriousness, right? Let's put on our serious faces. If you had to mime what a red rag is, how would you do it? Because that clearly, if you can't communicate,
Yeah.
I mean,
What was it?
I've never heard of any sort of period utensil, whatever you want to call it, being a red rag.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I got Tony. Look up like a whole
It's
thing.
usually a rag.
Don't
It's
Google
usually just
red
a
rag.
rag.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not saying Google red rag. I'm
Guys
just
don't
saying
even know.
look up. If you ever like have any free time, just Google alternatives for period, like moniker. What's the term? Moniker.
So guys have more time to Google alternatives for the word period other than knowing what's actually happening when a period
You are
occurs.
correct.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Listen, we don't want to understand it. We just want to make fun of it. You know?
Okay, how would I mime that? I think women would instantly know, but you would do more of the tampon application.
Phil,
What does that even
could you
mean?
demonstrate for us what that is?
What is that?
You like
Well, I did like some of the guesses from like handkerchief out the balls. That was the one that I wrote down. And old lady, where's my dick? Yeah, which I guess that one I could do. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like a squatting with like putting something up. I guess that's how it works. The physics of it.
I thought he communicated, like, if in the game of charades, I thought he communicated quite effectively what it should have been. It is his players around him that were understanding the red rag.
Yeah, Randy, I'll be on your charades team. Don't worry. I understand.
Here's
We
my-
would win.
Here's my take. It's like, you know, when you use the restroom and you go for a wipe, but instead of wiping, you're inserting.
If only we had a female who could tell Tony whether or not he's right about his assessment on the issue.
Kind of. I just love how all the men, no matter like if they knew Randy or not, were on the same page.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I don't really know Randy. I just know him from TV, but I was on the same page with him, obviously.
You've heard of like Plugged Up?
No.
You've not heard of oh my god.
Like, this is
Never heard of, like,
crazy, you guys.
The ship is sinking. Plug the hole.
Oh.
All right.
No, we say like way worse things.
Wait, you
Such
say
as?
worse?
Such
Yeah,
as?
like massacre.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Boston Massacre.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Oh, yes. I don't
Educate us.
The Red Sea.
Down under.
Yeah.
Red Wedding?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Red Wedding we've had.
The red day.
The Red Day. I'm not sure. I'll think
The Red
on it.
Day.
Oh,
You
wait
guys
a
should
minute.
write your names for periods in the comments below, and we'll pick the winner.
Creativity counts and
So-
offensiveness.
The Hunt for Red October.
Oh,
But you could replace Hunt with something that sounds...
oh my God.
All right. And on that note, we're going to transition completely to honestly.
now we're going to get serious. I'm glad I got that in when I did.
All right. Well, maybe we'll slowly transition. We'll do some. Let's do some news and gossip, shall we?
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV News.
I figured it's a nice way to warm up before we talk about actual statistics of school shootings. So,
Kids actually died in that explosion just now.
The one in the booth that you played?
Yeah. Never mind.
what? Okay, moving on. Just like a school shooting right now, I don't care.
Oh
All
my
right,
I think Tony
go
just
ahead.
died on
What do
the
we got
air.
for news?
Okay, news. You want to get into the stats right
Well,
now?
No, not the stat. Okay, so
the gossip.
I'll do the first. This one's just kind of very simple, easy. If you liked the Stick of Truth, the video game, it is now available on Nintendo Switch. So go. That's right.
Because you're a tremendous fan of that game. You talked about it here on the show before.
That was the Fractured Butthole.
Oh.
So the Stick of Truth is
That's
the one before.
is that the older one? Oh, okay. So now it's on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. So the Fractured Butthole is not yet on Nintendo Switch. I don't think.
Don't ask me when it's
And we have the, of course, cancel South Park
Yes.
campaign, which everyone's been seeing, and everyone has been asking me because they know that I do this after show if it's actually canceled. Like, literally, people don't understand.
There's a billboard around the corner from here that I see every day that is a hashtag cancel South Park. And I mentioned it earlier. I would like to start hashtag cancel South Park after show. So I would like people who
Agreed.
are fans of this show, but more than that, people who hate this show, please start tweeting hashtag cancel South Park after show. And also hashtag cancel South Park.
Yeah, because your dislikes on our videos don't count for jack squat to us.
true. Yeah.
You got to tweet.
Yeah, you gotta let us know verbally.
Okay, so what do you guys take of that? Like, I think it's a very bold strategy, and I actually appreciate it because, in a sense, to the true South Park fans like us, it's saying, we know we've messed up, I think, and we're going to take it to a whole new level, and we're just going to go for it. Like today, school shootings, we're going for it. Black Panther, we're going to throw that in there. Women's periods, that's in there too. And you can either like it or not, but your world's fucked up, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I agree. And I like how they never give you answers. It is the most South Park thing that it's like, take it how you want it.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't use it this way, but because we do the show, it really, every episode, at least since we've been doing the show, there's something to talk about that's a real issue that you can have a legitimate conversation with that probably we wouldn't sit around and talk about school shootings, mostly because it's just too terrible to think about. And why would you bring it up conversationally, you know? So they do somehow inspire conversation, even though it is so wrong the way they cover like almost everything. So I think I don't know anybody that can do the balance like Trey and Matt can, where you take these things that are legitimately important issues, but you figure out a way to make it so funny for something. You know, you're not making fun of the issue. You're just sort of, I mean, the jokes are all the way people react to it. The fact that kids are getting shot isn't funny. What's supposed to be funny is the fact that everybody's like, yeah, what? No, so you got a bad grade on
Bang,
the quiz.
bang,
Yeah,
bang, bang.
right, bang, bang. Yeah, exactly. So
So, absolutely. All right. So that's our news and gossip for this week, and we'll continue to try to bring some more. You know, it's always a little bit tough because, especially once we hit the season full steam, they're into it. They're not doing, obviously, press, and they barely even know what the hell the episode's about until like the last day. So, but let's on a truly serious note, Steph, let's talk about the issue at hand. Let's talk about school shootings in a hopefully profound, meaningful, as much as we can way.
Well, yeah, because it is interesting because I stopped and thought, I was like, oh, well, this didn't happen. They could have done like Kavanaugh this week or something more relevant. But then I was the dick that was saying this isn't relevant because it is. It's always relevant. It's happening all the time. Like this article that was posted by CNN says that there's been on average one school shooting every week this year. And it's September, but there's been United States is home to 36 school shootings this year alone, which is crazy because in every other country this is not happening and there has been no solution. So it is scary to think about, like you were saying, like you have two kids, like it hits home to everybody and there has been no solution. I mean, those stats are crazy.
It is. I mean, every single week. That's a lot. I can't remember. Maybe I just wasn't aware, and so forgive my ignorance. But like before this, we didn't. You know, a school shooting was a major thing. Now
there's a reason why Columbine was such a big deal, and that was 20 years ago next year. You know, because you just couldn't believe that this happened. And, you know, over the next few years, I don't remember when the next big one was, but it was years. And it was like, oh my God, it's another Columbine. Well, now you would never say that anymore because it's another Sandy Hook or it's another, 8 other schools, you know. So it did happen, but really before Columbine, I'm sure you could Google it and you could find, you know, I seem to remember there was something in Europe, but they just didn't really happen that much. And now they happen so often that you can be focused on how terrible it is, but at some point, if you really think about how terrible it is that it happens all the time, how are you going to get out of bed? How are you going to do anything? So to some extent, you have to be at least a little, anesthetized to it. And you go like, this is terrible. But again, it's just like, if you're not helping vote for people who can actually make a change, you know, there isn't actually anything you can do. You can do all the posts on social media, you can say all the things you want, but if people who make laws aren't going to make any changes, it doesn't matter how you feel about it, you know. So, you know,
interestingly enough, I saw Fahrenheit 11/9, which is a play on Michael Moore's original Fahrenheit 9/11, and I'm not touting his political views and this and that, but what is interesting, he did highlight a group of kids that kind of really took a stand and have been doing a lot with in terms of trying to prevent school shootings, and the fact that they kind of enacted change already where candidates of the past just dropped out because they were able to insert in candidates that wanted to make a change. And the fact, you know, so there's there's positive stuff happening, and there's also obviously negative stuff, and sometimes we don't highlight the positive stuff, but a lot of people are becoming more politically active that weren't before.
That's a great point. Because those high school students, specifically the Parkland High, they've really made a change in terms of I feel like that whole generation wasn't involved at all, even during the Trump election, because it just didn't really concern them. And now you see they're like trolling senators and every state representative everywhere. If they
couldn't even vote they still can't vote.
They still can't vote, but yeah, I mean, definitely, to that point. But you know that they're making a difference because these Parkland kids are, of course, people are going after them, and you would never have gone after kids associated. You shouldn't. Not that you should now. That's not the point. But no one would have thought of it before. But it's like, oh, these kids who are in the school shooting, they're mouthing off too much. So, you have Alex Jones saying that they're all crisis actors, although I think he thinks everyone in the world is a crisis actor. So the fact that these kids are out there talking about it, it's clearly annoying, if depending on your stance on the issue, annoying all the right people, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And so I take that positive out of it, and I hope to kind of see more change in that sense. And
November.
But you know, I mean, if you want to be 100% honest, you're not going to change that much in November. All you can possibly change is the house. All you can possibly do is change the house, and yeah, all the
And the
real
Senate?
stuff. You're not going to switch the Senate though.
We might.
Steph, that's so cute.
I'm still have hope.
Listen, hope is good. You know, we all just need tactics and so forth. And you know, I think it's an interesting point as far as we're seeing a lot more school shootings and we're seeing a lot more suicides. And to me, what that says, we're just mentally screwed up. Mm-hmm. You know, it takes a very sick person to kill themselves, and it takes a very sick person to shoot somebody else. And so, you know, one way or the other, we got to. There's symptoms of, there's prevention, which I think is gun laws, but then there's also the more actual problem, which is the mental illnesses and so forth. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't have the solution. I'm just telling you.
But that's just because Phil's on his period.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. All right.
Yes, I am.
Any final thoughts before we wrap things up for tonight's South Park after show?
Yeah, where was Towley this week? He
Oh
would've
my
really, He would have
gosh.
really fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you got to plug something up, you need a fresh towel.
Oh my God, Towley would have been perfect for that.
I thought that's why you brought him up.
Well, I don't know, maybe.
Subconsciously.
You guys want to get high?
You guys want to plug us some more?
Yes, please.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Tony woke up.
All right. Well, that about does it for us. We've gone every which way today, and we will continue to try to, if the season continues to be as, let's say, dark, perhaps, we'll try to also be serious about it and offer up some factual insights as best we can. In the meantime, you can, of course, interact with us on a more meaningful level. Steph Sabraw, right? That's your Twitter?
Yes. And Instagram. It's all
And
the same.
Instagram. At Christian DMZ for Christian.
That's right. That's where you can find me. And I did like Black Panther, so you can talk to me about it on there.
Me too.
And I'm at Phil Svitek. It was all right. It was. I preferred The Lion King. Like, even the music itself was like do a side-by-side comparison of when...
If you're going to compare it to The Lion King, I like The Lion King better. I mean, there's no Timon and Pumbaa in the Black Panther, so...
All I'm saying
There is a Michael B. Jordan, though.
He's good.
Okay, but play side by side.
Okay.
Remember when he sees his dad? Remember who you are.
Yes,
Yeah.
And
of
there's that
course.
song
Sure.
underneath. You know, it's the same song. Same
It's a
song.
Circle of Life?
No, not the Circle of Life song. The other song, the Remember Who You Are song.
I have to rewatch it. I'll rewatch it side by side.
All right. Sounds good. Tony, what the hell's yours since you wouldn't shut the hell up?
Yes, this guy's Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Tony B Tony _ TONY letter B TONY _ Thank you so much.
You know, since we talked about school shootings, I think I should point out Anthony used to be at Tony B Dead.
Oh,
Remember that?
That is correct.
Yeah.
wait, what?
That used to be his on.
It was
his,
spelled DED though.
Yeah.
Luckily, he went into the good ambulance.
Yeah.
Not the
that was
not the
pretty
bad one. All right, and of course, follow us here at AfterBuzz TV. Not that they'll promote us much because they want to cancel us. Hashtag if you want to cancel us, cancel South Park After Show. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.